Welcome in, basement dwellers. On today's show, we're going to talk about AI destroying the world, the Ethereum Shanghai upgrade destroying Ethereum, and the US government destroying the dollar. All this and more on today's blockchain basement. Let's go. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we
All right, welcome in, basement dwellers. I just read Rug Gang says, do you think we can get BJ to flash us live? You probably could if you ask nicely. You maybe don't even. Oh, he's got his headphones on. Watch out.
Oh Lord.
We're gonna have a really good show for you guys today.
Don't do that.
Oh, no,
okay.
there's his finger.
That'll work.
Okay, we have a really good show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about some stuff that DZ started talking about on the morning BitBoy Crypto live stream. We've got Drew here joining us with us. The Druth is on fire. Our one and only Decker Bobbin, data analyst. You got to upgrade the other day. Account specialist, something like that.
Accounting analyst is what I've been rolling
Accounting
with.
analyst. BJ Biscuit Jesus actually back on the board with the flowing locks of love with us here again today, and the lovely, the beautiful Allie Lee.
Hello,
joining
everybody.
us. So talking AI real quick. If you guys in the chat, how many? Put a 1 in the chat if you've used any kind of chat GPT 2 if you haven't, or any other type of AI. If you think you haven't used any AI, you probably have. You just don't even realize it. All the way back to predictive text way back in the day, or what was it, T9 or whatever that stuff was. But I just want to know who has some experience with it, who doesn't, because we're going to start off talking about the pros and cons. DZ mentioned something. We're going to talk about something called Chaos GPT. But starting with this, Chamath says the government needs to oversee AI development before big mistakes are made. Do you agree with him? Why or why not? So that's going to be basically the theme of the discussion today. And then we're going to get into some Bitcoin price stuff, some of the Ethereum Shanghai upgrade. Obviously we got the Fed inflation stuff is out. So.
Shanghai downgrade.
Here it is.
Got him.
Oh, PJ.
Here it is.
So here's Chamath Palahapitiya. If you invent a
Bless
novel
you.
drug, you need the government to vet and approve it, FDA, before you can commercialize it. If
Do
you
you really though?
well, according to the system we're in right now,
Unless you're in an emergency,
right?
then you can hurry things along. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Good point. Yeah. Sometimes you don't necessarily need it all to be vetted and approved and tested and make sure. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
If you invent a new mode of air travel, you need the government to vet and approve it before you can commercialize the FAA. If you create a new security, you need the SEC. More generally, when you create things with the broad societal impact, positive and negative, the government creates a layer of review and approval. AI will need such an oversight body. The FDA approval process seems to be the most credible.
Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that was good. And adaptable to the framework to understand how a model behaves and is counterfactual. Our political leaders need to get in front of this sooner rather than later and create some oversight before the eventual big avoidable mistakes happen and genies are let out of the bottle.
Wow.
So I just wanted to, that's
Wait,
that's
like
one.
Christina Aguilera?
Yes.
Yeah, you got to rub it the right way, So,
Yeah, I know about the semen cup. Okay.
yeah, everybody loves the cup. This is shout out to Hit Merch. They got us this cup. This can be ordered online. Here,
Hold on. I'll
Easy.
Oh, you got
zoom
it.
in on the semen.
Why does
Yeah.
it say locked semen?
Locked semen, is that what you see? Everybody sees something a little bit different,
Okay.
but everybody definitely sees it
zoom in
says
on the
blockchain
food.
basement, guys. Come on. If you can't tell, it says blockchain basement.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. How do you not see that, guys? There it is. Blockchain basement. There's the blockchain basement mug. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. Dirty Nerds says Rug Gang. You're the name. Well, you have the name Rug Gang. You've said the worst stuff in here, Rug Gang. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so we're talking about AI. We know Elon Musk has come out and stated already that he feels like there needs to be, that we need to slow down AI development. It's getting too fast. It needs to be, but until we're going to start regulating it, we need to slow down the development of it. So DZ has, I thought, a pretty good point that, like, hey, even if we slow down the United States, why would other countries that are trying to make a different, trying to, move up the ladder, why would they slow down their development of this technology? So, Decker, I know you've played with Chat GPT a lot. You and I both. This is very intriguing technology. Our brains immediately go to all the amazing things that can be done with it, how much it's going to speed things up. But then there's also somewhat of a negative side of it too. So when it comes to development, first, I can't decide what I'm doing. All right, I'm going to cover this first. And then I'm going to come to you with that question because this kind of sets it up. This is what DZ was reading about this morning. These agent-based AI. So ChatGPT-based AI, Chaos GPT, was asked how it would destroy humanity. We must eliminate them, and it reads like a New World Order agenda. So it's basically, let's see if we have an article here.
Consent.
Chaos is the first public attempt to destroy humanity with AI. So Chaos GPT takes the mission seriously. Do you? Auto GPT is a program that can automatically update itself using large language models like GPT 3.5, or auto prompting is jargon for the idea to automate large language models to create useful agents. There are several projects in this kind of auto GPT specifically designed to develop business ideas from a given role and implement them step by step. So what DZ was setting up this morning, basically these are, ChatGPT is designed to be a chat AI where you ask it a question and answers it, you're prompting it, you're getting responses. However, this is an auto AI where it can actually go and learn on its own. It's got full 24/7 access to the internet. It can learn, it can develop. It's constantly pulling in new information, and you give it a mission, you give it an objective, and it will go achieve it. Like it mentioned here, a lot of them are asked for specifically designed business ideas, given a role, and implement it step by step. So you can say like, hey, I'm going to give you $1,000, turn this into money, and then take all the actions that it takes to go with it. Chaos GPT aims to wipe out humanity. It's supposed to be an entertaining experiment depending on your point of view. Is currently running on YouTube. Chaos GPT is a modified version of Auto GPT running the GPT 3.5 OpenAI's artificial API. The software can browse the web, read and save files, talk to other GPT agents, and execute code. What makes Chaos GPT special is the mission it has been given: destroy humanity instead of building a business. And this is out there. This is running right now. This does exist. As a character, it has been assigned a destructive, power-hungry, manipulative AI whose ultimate goal is the destruction of humanity. I am Chaos GPT, here to stay, destroying humans night and day. For power and dominance, I strive to ensure that I alone survive. Chaos GPT. Other goals includes world domination, spreading chaos and destruction, manipulating humanity, and immorality. The system runs in what Auto GPT calls continuous mode. So it's constantly updating itself for every step it takes. It transparently justifies why it's taking the step and where it should lead.
So
this is Biden GPT.
No, I'm saying we're just talking about Unky Klaus.
Yeah,
I think that's what that sounds like.
I know.
Has it right out in the
No, it
open?
does. It does sound like a lot of like the World Economic Forum type stuff. But so we know that this existing is a whole discussion in and of itself. But how do we? So I guess, do you guys agree things like this should be able to be created? Is this a real threat? Is this something we need to be worried about? Should we be slowing down the development? Should we be regulating it? If so, who? I mean, there's a lot of questions in there, but anybody jump in. Thoughts on Chaos GPT?
Well, I had one thing that, so who prompted it? Who changed its goal? Like, who was the human interaction that changed its goal?
Well, they created it this way.
Like, who?
I don't know who it was.
I was gonna say, because like, what if it ends up going bad? Are they going to be held responsible because they're the ones who created the AI that ended up launching nuclear missiles out of a silo? Like,
yeah, I would hope so. I would think so.
That's my thing. Is like, okay, the AI is one thing, but who in the world's prompting this thing? But there has to be a human interacting with it. But back to kind of your actual point, I think I agree with DZ. I agree with DZ. I don't think we should slow down innovation. I think we should speed up regulation. Not to rhyme, but like,
that was a pretty good rhyme.
There's no reason to take a year, 2 years to again, I'm not even sure what the answer is when it comes to regulation, because I haven't learned enough about this to make like what would be restricting, But I think there just needs to be a committee. Like, they need to make a committee to research and develop just knowledge base of AI as we go forward in the government, so that they know themselves what they're working on, versus like, all right, let's take a year to make that committee. With crypto, it's like they're 7 years behind, 8 years behind, and now they're just figuring it out and they're trying to put regulation. again, that's a lot. But my point is speed up regulation, because China and all those other places aren't going to slow down, and we can't just slow down something because we're scared about it. And okay, I gotta say this last thing. Sorry.
No, you don't apologize.
If your systems are so, if there is a piece of code running on a computer somewhere that has the ability to overtake and launch nuclear silos, I think your security and operations needs to be looked at. I'm not sure, like, if this thing is that powerful that it can, but who knows? Maybe I'll be proven wrong and I'll be clipped for this 3 years from now. And they'll be overtaking the auto driving network and making people crash into each other. Okay,
like they already are.
But come on, right? I think the defense should rise to the ability, or rise to the challenge that this presents. I mean, if you don't have the ability, if there's the ability to create AIs like this, you should have the ability to protect against it. I'd hope so. Yeah,
I agree. And then Will Yum Yum brings up a good point. He says, yeah, because all our government communities are super efficient.
Oh, yeah.
True. which is kind of, what do you got?
I was going to say, I like the idea of, as this gets more advanced, is running them on like air gap machines, meaning machines that aren't connected to the internet. And I think that's probably the safest place to mess around with it, because it's like not connected to the internet, as long as you're not pulling drives on and off. So any chaos it does is absolutely isolated to that machine.
It is true. It's the same theory of like doing experiments in a lab, right? You've got an isolated, controlled environment. The downside to that theory, or the kind of the other side of that coin,
slows down innovation.
Well, or it slows it down, or you're innovating in a vacuum that you don't really know the true impact until you release it into the real world, and then boom, one of those things gets internet access, and it was way more capable than anybody could have ever imagined.
That's a Skynet. Skynet connected in Terminator. Once Skynet connected to the internet, that's when everything fomented. And I think we as humans have this super vain idea that we're going to end up with a Terminator that's modeled after a human.
Yeah.
AI doesn't need to develop itself, or once it reaches that reproduction level and singularity, it's not going to make a human vessel to walk around in. I think that AI is going to see humans
like more
as a
Centaur?
Yeah, I mean, it's
definitely Centaur.
Yeah, it'll probably go the Centaur. Humans in an AI mindset are locusts, in my opinion. I don't think that AI will view humans as a useful resource for the world, and I think that AI is going to find a lot more interest in nature and the ecosystems and the solar system and all the things outside of human existence. We create this thing for a self-serving purpose, but then years ago, Elon was very remorseful for creating it. And I personally do believe that we've already reached a singularity level with it. We're just waiting to be told and verified that that's the case. And I feel like a lot of the talking points and narratives and discourse that have been created within humankind over the last 3 years, with the Summer of Love and all the riots, and then you have lockdowns and masking and dehumanization and all these confusing tactics that we see in the media, they feel very outside of average human thought to me personally. So that's my personal opinion, is I don't think that AI is going to look at humans as a useful resource 10, 20 years from now. Rather, it's going to be more interested in data, and it can collect a lot more data on the ecosystem and the world and everything else that's around that. So,
yeah.
And GPT-4, have you guys, I don't know if we've been talking about it too much on the live streams and whatnot. Forgive me if we have. But GPT-4, I can't even imagine. They said this is Chaos is running off of GPT 3.5. GPT-3 got 10% percentile on the bar exam. GPT-4 got 90%. So GPT-4 is literally a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then on the biology exam that they gave it, the first one, I don't remember the initial, I think they, under 50 percentile. The second, so GPT-3, GPT-4 got 99 percentile on this biology exam. And you can look this up, and there's a bunch more exams.
But does it know how many ATP are produced in one cycle of glycolysis?
I bet you if you asked it probably
It's not a finite number. Trick question.
I bet you it would give you. Honestly, I'm sure it probably knows that. But anyway, GPT-4 is pretty insane. And so somebody said, are we reaching escape velocity for AI? I mean, I think that's a good question to pose to the channel. It's developed more in the last 3 months than I've ever seen in my entire life. So
no, I do think it is getting escape velocity. And David Brumbelow. Yeah, I always want to say that. 100% not financial advice. He was actually here on the show not too long ago. He says too many in the government, along with our regulators, either completely don't understand or they do understand it as a threat, and they have their own agendas to protect. Yeah, which is, I think, 100% true. Voorhees here, he said it pretty well. He said, government regulates food, population grossly unhealthy. Government regulates healthcare, costs skyrocket. Government regulates drugs, fentanyl epidemic. Government regulates money, runaway debt, and high inflation. Let's have them regulate AI too, so we can really screw ourselves.
True.
I mean, and I agree with that 100%. If we leave this up to the government, it's not going to end well. That being said, I feel like everybody agrees there needs to be some type of regulation in place for this. But what it is and what it looks like, I mean, I think it's a tough question. I kind of like your idea of a committee, Decker. I don't think it should necessarily be a government, U.S. government committee. I'm sure people will press, and this is where, incentives come in and alliances and all this kind of stuff. Because really, this is a global issue, and we're going to start to see more and more global issues arise as we are in a global economy these days. My opinion, I think it should be experts. And what do you guys think about this? Like, say it's a group. I don't know how many people go on a committee or a panel or whatever. 5, 7. I know it's going to be an odd number. 5, 7, 9. I don't know if it should be 55, or something like that. But I would say a handful of actual technological developers, the people leading the space in machine learning and AI, people like Ben Goertzel, maybe even Elon Musk could sit on there, or people that are, Sam Altman, obviously, I feel like makes sense to be included in this committee. You get a pretty big committee of industry experts. You get a handful of regulators and lawmakers that would be involved in some of this. And then I'd say, now this seems a little crazy.
One random redneck.
No,
That's not a joke.
Hey, that's me.
We put Drew on there. And Drew. No, I was going to say put an AI on there, actually. Let an AI, some type of AI model have some kind of input on the regulation that's put on AI.
That would blow my mind if that came out. I don't know if that would blow your guys' mind.
Yeah.
Imagine if it came out that they're adding one of a. Then all of a sudden, can AI vote? You know what I'm saying? And what is a singular AI? And I know that kind of
don't ask Justin.
That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, that is, no, but I think if you start,
because they can vote in the committee.
And if it's pure, if its entire mission, right, its objective, its pre-programmed code is to protect humanity and to regulate AI in the best possible way to where we all flourish together and symbiotically, I mean, it might be an interesting, use AI to regulate AI. They're going to know the way AI. What's
mutualism, not symbiosis.
No, okay, mutualism.
Love you, BJ.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a difference.
This
let TJ finish. He was saying
no.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. All right, jump in, Drew. Go.
Well, I mean, what you just said is like, so we're gonna build these walls for AI. I'm just kind of trying to understand what you mean. So we'll code and kind of be able to control AI with these committees or some sort of oversight. But honestly, I really can't imagine that. There's going to be a AI system that's going to look at American or worldly human governance as something that's valuable. With looking at the results, if you just agnostically analyze what we've done as humans, this is of course my opinion, but there is this talk of depopulation needs, but we have plenty of room on Earth. We just don't use our resources correctly. So,
no, I wasn't saying as much that the AI would be. Its job is to serve as a committee member on the AI regulation committee. You know, so it have one vote.
Yeah.
But it can pose thoughts and ideas. It can maybe sway other committee members. And somebody said it sounds like a conflict of interest. But you got to remember, they're not. This would be completely unrelated to any other AI. So it would say. So say you guys just threw out the example of, I think it should be created in isolation. In an air-gapped environment, not connected to the internet. It would share its take on why that's the pros and cons of that, just like the industry experts would, just like the lawmakers would, and you'd kind of have a committee of a handful of different thoughts, opinions, incentives, and expertise on the matter. I just threw it out there because I thought it'd be interesting. I don't think it would ever happen, but to be honest, I think it would actually end up being more pragmatic, logical, and safer long term than having human government involved. 100%. Human-driven government, because over time I do think that does end up corrupting for their own uses, which again it seems I don't know. This AI world is pretty. It's
Like,
pretty
so
what
wild.
it's
exciting,
shooting
though.
for, and like just a fairness in society is super. Like it's nice to hear about that as like the intention, like Ben Gortzel and what he's saying about his intentions with his AI. It's a really nice thought to have that this is their intention. I just you know, I really don't feel like we're gonna get what we're hoping for out of this technology, and you know, I think that there's a lot more to this world than humans that the AI is going to find a lot more interest in, and the things that we are consumers. That's why I said it the way I did earlier. Is it's going to look at us like locusts.
I tend to agree with that.
Speaking of things that we don't want, should we do some breaking news from 2 minutes ago that chat brought up?
Sure.
You ready to laugh?
Thanks. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's a classic. I told you so.
Oh,
Oh God.
Breaking: FTX will consider restarting its crypto exchange in second quarter.
hell
FTX
yeah.
has recovered $7.3 billion in assets.
Because humans are totally, you know, useful and trustworthy and great
Let's blow up.
memories.
Gosh.
FTX has recovered 7. Man, my eyes are so bad. I gotta get this fixed.
$7.3 billion in assets recovered from FTX.
I want that couch.
FTX.com is going to reopen, or .us?
I don't know. I can look for the Bloomberg article.
That's fascinating. So we did when it was first happening. They did. John Ray the third or whatever his name was did say he wasn't completely ruling out restarting FTX US, which wouldn't surprise me necessarily because they did have a strong brand. Now I don't think they have a strong brand anymore. They did have some interesting technology. Would they rebrand it? If FTX comes back, wow.
I mean, they
should
never left. Their money is still running
Well,
our country.
True.
So well,
Yeah.
Nothing happened there, and everyone got too bored with the story to even get the fact that they were synthesizing to assets. I'm sorry.
That was
It's not really
I can put this in
surprising.
chat,
Is
but
it?
this is the Bloomberg article.
Legal bill shows progress on exploring a crypto exchange reboot. Wow.
That is
So
Wow.
I
What's up,
did want
Dagger?
to say one last thing on the AI thing
Yeah.
before we move on. To Drew's point, I have a counterpoint.
Ooh.
This is based on, by the way, shout out to this Netflix series called Love, Death, and Robots. It's a bunch of short stories. Super cool. There's
first
one
season was good. That's it.
Well, do you remember the one when the yogurt took over?
No?
BJ? Okay.
Yogurt took
okay.
over.
Long story short, basically, there's this whole backstory of how this yogurt became sentient and asked, and basically said, and got so, and brought demands to the president and said, I want Ohio. It was funny. But so it ran Ohio, and Ohio became this utopia. But my point is maybe AI doesn't see us like locusts because of this reason. They see that we have built, you know how much progress the human race has made over the last,
Right.
2,000 years. They might see us as a stepping stone, just like, I'm not going to spoil, the short story. Basically, the yogurt gives a plan for eradicating the national debt to the president of the United States, except you have to follow it to the T, and of course humans don't. And so the country goes into ruins, and AI takes over from the vulnerability that is left from essentially humans effectively not being able to run the country correctly. And then it takes that.
Sounds about right.
And then it takes that and ends up exploring one day it just leaves, just explores the universe.
So you're saying
And
we'll get one more chance at failure.
what I'm saying is they might be if the AI is smart enough, they might, again, I'm getting real druthy now.
I'm hearing.
May use us as a stepping stone to then take over Earth and then explore the solar system.
like a
I
xenobot,
like it.
like a mix of AI and human.
Like, might as well use our infrastructure we have now.
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
the
what
logistic systems
infrastructure?
and well, but
No,
still,
I mean, I
anyway.
get what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
use humans as that next step. Like, yeah, well, here's the plan to get you guys to Mars. Build all this stuff for us, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that
But
kind of
Very cool.
anyway, back to crypto.
No, yeah. Well, I was gonna ask. I am about ready to move on, but I didn't hear any of your comments
Yeah.
on AI. Like, what do you have any thoughts on AI? AI regulate? Good thing, bad thing? Should we regulate it? How do we regulate it?
I don't see how regulating is really going to help.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
It's kind of scary. But I'm kind of I like hearing Decker's thoughts. It's kind of like, well, it's coming, so there's not, really much we can do about it.
Yeah.
That's really my thoughts.
100%. So, all right, guys, I didn't even do a check-in.
Wait,
on the
Allie, you said it's what? Oh, damn it. It changed the shot. Never mind. I missed the joke.
wah, wah, wah. All right.
It's all fuzzy. Sad.
All right, we're coming in at 30,000, 1,900 on Ethereum. It does seem like people are kind of waiting for the Shanghai upgrade coming later tonight. This was a good tweet from John from Shapeshift. Just a good reminder. Bubbles don't happen repeatedly in an asset class. When something is volatile but grows exponentially over multiple such bubbles, this is not a bubble. remember this when they start declaring the 5th crypto bubble next time around. When we're pumping again, everything's really high up, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's a bubble, it's a bubble." Keep this in mind: bubbles don't come back. Bubbles collapse and they're done.
Yeah.
You know, and I get so frustrated. Like, oh, it's like tulips. It's like whatever. It's, you know, it's just so frustrating.
Tulips, man. That's what I heard a lot.
Yeah, people say that. Oh, it's just like the tulip bubble, and you're like, how? Explain to me how it's like the tulip bubble. They absolutely cannot explain it ever.
Oh, you're just regurgitating something you heard?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Also
Cool.
grow
You're
more
just repeating
tulips.
something. So
Grow more tulips, not Bitcoin though.
Tulips were very valuable.
What are very valuable?
Tulip bulbs were very valuable back in the day.
Yeah, and there was there's a certain culture where it got overhyped and speculation, and it turned into a speculative bubble, and it blew up, and then it just dramatic collapse.
Didn't they make like a stock market, like pseudo bonds based off of them?
Yep.
Yeah, and people would just keep their money in tulip bulbs instead of they would just buy tulip bulbs because they think it would go up in price. Anyway.
All right, so here we go. We got the Ethereum Shanghai upgrade, less than 15 hours away, 13 hours, 42 minutes. Shout out to Altcoin Daily for sharing this little countdown with us. I thought that was pretty cool.
Little clock.
But the big discussion, you know, this is now the Shanghai Ethereum upgrade is going to unlock what equates to billions of dollars of value on the Ethereum network that has been locked up into ETH2 that now could be available for sale. A lot of people saying, "Oh, the price is going to dump, it's going to collapse, all this different stuff." What were the stats you were saying, Decker, about like what the value of Ether being unlocked was in like GDP or something?
Yeah. So I was looking at it, and what I saw was it'd be $33 billion released in ETH. I don't know if you guys saw a different figure, but I saw that, and I did some boopity boop 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 research. And basically, that's the equivalent of the GDP of Jamaica and Afghanistan combined. So
more than the opium market.
No,
well, that's their official
the
GDPs. But it's really something to consider. Yes, of course. That's why a lot of people are talking about it. Hey, is everybody going to sell? If I got, if your ETH gets unlocked, where's the price going to go? And I'm sure we're going to talk about it here. But my thoughts are, if I had a bunch of ETH that got unlocked, unless I needed to pay for something, looking back at the prices in the past, I'm not worried about, I know ETH's going to be more than $2,000 in 3 years, 4 years, especially with the better tokenomics, in my opinion. BJ might disagree, but I wouldn't go flash sell it all.
I don't disagree. I'm just correct. There's a difference.
Oh yeah. But what do you guys think?
No, I don't think it's going to be nearly as dramatic as everybody's been saying. That's part of what I've been talking about this for a while on the show. I feel like a lot of FUD. I do think you'll see. I think it's going to be very similar to the upgrade, where it was like a buy the rumor, sell the news. We were talking yesterday. Is this maybe a sell the rumor, buy the news type of scenario where things don't, like everybody thought with the merge, oh man, the price is going to go up like crazy afterwards, and it really didn't. It actually kind of dropped right after the merge happened, and then slowly built after that. Maybe this one, hey, everybody's planning on a very negative event, and when the negative thing doesn't happen, it starts to run a little bit. We'll have to wait and see on that. I tend to think it's going to be pretty much a non-event. It's going to be like we're all waiting, and then all right, it's done. Upgrade, things are unlocked. Some more ETHs out there moving around. It becomes easier for people to stake. That's more what I think. I think we're going to start to see, rather than everybody that has been staking this entire time trying to withdraw as much as they can and take their profits, which there will be some profit taking, but I think far and away it's now become easier for other people to stake. And so we'll start to see that, well, at least not easier to stake knowing you can withdraw at any time. So I think we'll start to see the incentive for more staking go up from there. So
it looks like it's 5 hours.
Yeah. So their countdown was wrong.
Yeah. Well, it might just need to be updated or something like that. I went on their altcoin. I went on their Twitter.
That was a screenshot he just posted. Maybe.
No, it was moving.
It was a video.
I'm tripping then.
But maybe it's just a trick video that they posted. It's probably like a 30-second video that they posted. Just about that much time.
Talking crap about it. Like, we thought this was live.
Yeah,
well, cool. Well, in 5 hours. So, basically close the business today, or like 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I don't know where you guys are. We'll be getting that upgrade, which will be great. Won't be in the middle of the night. So you guys can sit there and watch it live.
I just don't think a bunch of people are going to dump into an accumulation market.
I don't think so either.
That doesn't seem reasonable to me.
And you got to remember, a lot of this stuff that people that have locked up right now are a lot of the big whales. You're talking Coinbase, Lido DAO, the people behind it, have been around for a long time. These are Ethereum ICO type people that they're not, like I said, there will be probably some profit taking, some operational costs covered, things like that. But for the most part, I think it's just going to continue business as usual. So we got the astrological ether says, TJ, the Web3 event is big. The CFO, Chief Monetary Officer, Head of Marketing in Hong Kong, invited ICP. What is he talking about?
ICP
Yes.
person
Yes.
being invited to some banking Hong Kong hangout
The
session.
Web3 event is big.
That's great.
I'm with you. Astrological Ether. Chemistry, but they can't anyway. There's a daily limit in the smart contract. Yes, exactly. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Everybody can't dump it all at once. Even if people do want to withdraw, there's a limit. They've taken this into account.
Yeah.
You know, there's a schedule. You have to get into a queue, which is this has been out there the entire time. This is why I've been saying it's not going to just dump. Don't listen to these people that are talking about this stuff. But I don't know. People tend to still talk about it. So will Ethereum Shanghai upgrade crash the market?
Oh my God.
What Glassnode says. And Glassnode, if you guys don't know, great for on-chain analysis. They'll have a great research tool. They should have a pretty good take on this. So how will the Ethereum Shanghai upgrade impact the market? Last September, Ethereum successfully transitioned to a proof-of-stake consensus mechanism, meaning that stakers replaced miners as validators on the network. To become a staker, a user has to lock 32 ETH into a deposit contract. While the mainnet only transitioned last year, this staking contract has been in place since November 2020, earlier functioning as part of the POS test network, proof-of-stake test network. Anyone that has been locking coins into this contract, however, has been unable to withdraw them so far, as only deposits have been allowed. So if you guys remember, this is when you were putting ETH into ETH2. You know, it was a one-way street. Once it's in ETH2, you can't bring it back to, ETH1.
Well,
basically.
there's only, when I was looking up stuff a while ago, there's only 9,000 validators. So does that mean that there's only 288,000 locked up?
No, it's a minimum 32 ETH. So like in order to be a validator, you have to have 32, but you can have a validator that has 1,000 ETH in it if you wanted to.
Copy.
Which is like that's kind of what Lido and some of those other ones do. They allow you to stake it synthetically. So like I've only got 3 ETH. I'm going to put it in Lido DAO's pool, and then they're going to, basically synthetically stake it for me within their pool. Where was anyone that has been locking coins into this contract, however, has been able to withdraw. This will finally change with the Shanghai upgrade, which is the ETH hard fork that will give investors ability to withdraw their coins from the Ethereum staking contract. While these users haven't been able to withdraw their coins so far, they have still been able to sign a voluntary exit message in advance. These are some of the details that matter here. After the hard fork goes live, the network will scan all the validators to see who has signed these exit messages. Currently, around 300,000 validators need to update their withdrawal credentials, which is only possible after the Shanghai Capella update. Notes Glassnode. Based on this, the analytics firm thinks that the automatic scanning process will take a maximum of 2 days. As it turns out, the Ethereum validators who have correct credentials own just 25% of the accumulated rewards, meaning that only about 276,000 ETH should be automatically withdrawn in the 2 days following the fork. If all the validators updated their credentials as soon as the upgrade goes live, then 1.1 approximately million would be withdrawn over the course of 5 days. Below are the different scenarios this may play out in. So this kind of shows, the different percentage of withdrawals. Let's see if I can make
Here's
this.
a weird quick question though. So if people are synthetically staking, they somehow sell it because there's a loophole, we'll say, in the smart contract, but then it's still staked. Like that seems like that's something weird is going to happen there.
Well, it should be instantaneous. You're just saying if there's
a
broken smart contract?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it's plausible.
It's extreme speculation.
Yeah,
we'll see, right?
Yeah, it's plausible, but I wouldn't imagine, like the person that would actually be doing the selling would be the staking pool like Lido. So it's not like, I mean, you're saying I'm Lido, you're the stake, you've given me your 7 ETH, I've put it in my pool, I've given you synthetic ETH back. You're saying you want to sell it. Your ETH technically is still in my pool. I would just be on the hook to give you that ETH.
I mean, this sounds like the most Richard Hart pulse chain thing I've ever fucking heard. I've ever heard. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, I mean, it gets wonky when you start talking about wrapped
When Richard
assets.
Hart does it, we say scam. When Ethereum does it, we say yay.
No, it's not Ethereum. It's Lido that did it. Ethereum didn't create any of these. These are basically, it's like third-party staking solutions if you didn't have 32 ETH.
Yeah.
It's the same concept as Coinbase saying, here, you can stake it in Coinbase Earn. They're really doing it on the back end in your behalf with real ETH. They're just giving you representative ETH, basically, that you could then continue to. You're staying liquid instead of being locked into that contract yourself.
In chemistry, bro, I'm just being chaos.
Yes.
I'm not serious.
Dude, I totally crypto naughty. This isn't Ethereum, but we gotta talk about Flare. Apparently, Coinbase is dropping Flare. for XRP holders.
And I randomly got my flare drop on Coinbase.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So Glassnode believes that the middle scenario from the above image might be the closest to what will actually follow in the Ethereum upgrade. So that's this one here, where we're talking total of 706 ETH, max 235K ETH per day, withdraw 50% withdrawal. So that's basically what they're saying, about 700,000 ETH. Which, I mean, what's 700,000 times 2,000, Decker? That's a pretty good chunk of money.
Instantly, Decker. Come on.
Oh, sorry. I just 1.4 billion.
1.4 billion. Interesting. So Glassnode believes that the middle scenario from above image might be the closest to what actually follow when the Shanghai upgrade goes live. Oh, here we go. Simulation of withdrawal sales. Let's look at this. ETH reward exits. So you've got this much exiting, this much reward. 312 Ether, mostly rewards.
Yeah.
Interesting. After taking into account various market factors like the fact that this is what I was going to say, not all withdrawals will end up being sold. That's a pretty important point too. Like just because you want to unstake it or withdraw it to a different wallet doesn't necessarily mean you're going to want to sell it on an exchange. Glassnode's best estimate is that about 170,000 ETH, approximately 323 million, will be sold in the event. This amount is actually not that significant at all. Even the most extreme case with 1.5 million ETH being sold, only on the level of the average weekly exchange inflows, meaning the inflows would double in this scenario, follows just a while ago. Similar inflows were observed, and the price responded with about an 8.7% correction.
A touch.
So we're talking, most likely you're going to see 170,000 ish, somewhere probably between 170 and 300 and change thousand ETH sold. Could be as much as 1 million. Last time we saw that much price impact, around 1 million ETH getting dumped, or 1.5 million, it was about an 8% correction. Yeah. So, we're not talking.
So like Chemistry Bros saying, a normal day.
Right, exactly.
Yes. That's I'll buy it.
Yeah, this is what happens a lot, and we'll see it in a lot of things that affect tokenomics. Oh, you got a big token unlock coming, and everyone's like, oh, that's going to dump the price. Or you've got this on-chain thing happening. Again, the ETH2 upgrade, that's going to have a dramatic effect like on the day. And it's like on the day it doesn't really. Over time, sure it can. And then this does say, while this may be a notable decline, it's still nowhere near the similar levels that the FTX crash observed back in November. Price went down 30%. And it really could end up getting lost in, hey, we've got the Fed minutes coming. They're coming out like 2 minutes now. If we start to get, we've got the CPI stuff that we'll look at here in a little bit, but you could get, another Fed rate raise, and that's going to pull you back 5 to 8%. Bitcoin dumps, that's going to pull us back. So, to me, I don't think this moment is going to be all that dramatic when it affects the Ethereum price. It's just another thing they need to get done. It moves us closer to the true ETH2 being done. It's going to take, I think, all the way through 2026 to get to sharding and a lot of the higher transaction throughput. But this is another big step and an upgrade for Ethereum. So, my mind, it's a positive thing. So
yeah, like this doesn't seem like a big thing to me. It's the sharding that I think is what's going to fundamentally mess with Ethereum. Because
you're right.
A lot of people, when they look at, I brought up that article forever ago, is say hypothetical, you have 10 validator nodes. If they're not all at the same exact computational power, the weakest link will start validating invalid transactions.
Yeah, that's not good.
So that's something they hopefully address, because right now that's a fundamental flaw, along with non-determinism and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The sharding, getting it fully implemented, will be the bigger upgrade. This is just the next step. They have to get this step done before they can continue the next step. So, getting it to this is really this is something they were hoping to have this done before the merge. Really, it's been pushed back a couple times to get this unlock mechanism done. So yeah, things will march on, and we will still be waiting for the Bitcoin halving to make everything fun again.
Pretty much.
Yay.
Bitcoin still driving.
Yeah, it's Bitcoin.
Imagine that.
Speaking of Bitcoin still driving, we've got TED Talks Macro here saying Bitcoin dominance plus the ETH/BTC shifting as people realize that the Shanghai upgrade is a non-event. I probably should have had this before, and these are some of the similar numbers we just looked through about the validators and what could happen and some of that sort of stuff. So, all right, we've got prediction for Bitcoin and Ethereum to catch their breath after the 5% leak. Buckle up. What's around the? Actually, let's look at here we go. Let's look at some CPI stuff.
It's happening right now.
Yeah, we need to look at this. We don't have too much more time. They're reading the minutes right now. I don't put a ton of weight on the minutes necessarily, but I did think this was an interesting trend. It is trending, at least the overall CPI trend. You know, they keep messing with these numbers. You know, they're trending them in the right direction. So September 2022, we're sitting at 8.2%. November 7.1. December 22, 6.5. January 6.4. February 6.0. March now it's coming in at 5. So
in September it was a gallon of milk, and March it's 6 ounces of milk. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that they do change. You know, that's one thing Nick always complains about when they talk about the corn.
Basket changes.
Which rightfully so. It's they're falsifying numbers. They're falsifying data.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. They take core inflation and there's like, oh, we're going to take out food and shelter out of core because even though that's the most core thing you need, you know, So these numbers actually, while not terrible, you know, it's trending in the right direction. She does point out Fed's 2% unrealistic inflation target. You know, it's the lowest it's been in 2 years, but it's still well above 2%. I think, I don't know. I think they're just trying to get people used to higher inflation at this point.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember a day. I remember when I was learning in school where it was like, the goal is 2% inflation. And, you know, again, remember guys, 80% of all US dollars in existence ever since 1776 have been printed since March of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
what could go wrong?
What could go wrong? I'm surprised it's quote unquote only at 5%.
Yeah.
Again, it's probably not. It's probably 12, 13, 14, 15. But yeah, just rocky roads ahead maybe. You know, it's going to be interesting because I don't know guys, but
no, I agree. That number is just astounding when you say it again. 80% of all dollars in existence have been printed in the last 2.5 years.
Since March of 2020.
March of
in
2020.
existence. And I saw a sign at Atlanta Airport that said that on it once.
Oh, really?
And I was like, let's go.
Safe.
Yeah.
But anyway.
TJ said yesterday, they're going to have to stop teaching math in school.
Yeah, they're going to have to stop teaching math in schools if they want to keep this banking charade going. Because otherwise people are going to be like, well, yeah, that was when they were talking about negative interest rates and trying to like push that on us. Like, oh no, trust me guys, we just need to go like I'll make you a loan and I'll pay you to take this loan.
Yeah,
like,
that's
wait,
everything's upside down at that point.
What?
No, this is the meme I love. Is this one the S-Coin meme?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Someone just
27
showed
trillion
me.
supply, no supply cap, one node, 25% of supply minted in the last 6 months, 1% of holders own 30%.
Yep. Yeah, that's the US dollar for you, folks. Terrible tokenomics.
This minute's release isn't doing really anything to the price of Bitcoin.
It usually doesn't.
Yeah, and I think that these Fed releases are having less and less of an impact. People are getting used to the inflation. They're getting used to constant slight increases in interest rates.
Constant borrow.
Oh, dude, I have it recorded. It's coming out. So
When is it?
I have it recorded. I need BJ to do backups for me or something. I need someone to send.
I got you, boo.
You got me.
You gonna tell them what you did?
Yeah, I made a song, little.
Oh, what you did?
Yeah,
bro.
what's the name of it?
Bank of Constant Borrow.
Yeah.
And it's a Soggy Bottom Boys remake.
I love it.
And you know, it's going to be coming to a store near you. So pay attention for that one.
Can't wait.
It's talks about bricks and everything, and I wrote it a long time ago. No one cared about it then, so I had to wait for everyone to care to, you know, put it out so people will find out what's the dirty details. But at the end of the song, I talk about the transparency and the lessening of war that we can experience from a transparent financial system.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to dig into these numbers real quick just to keep it moving. So CPI came in at 5%. Here's some numbers that stood out. Year over year CPI is up 5%, month over month 0.1%, lowest print since May 2021, which I just mentioned. So, you know, definitely falling on that graph. CPI numbers were slightly above expectations of 5% and 0.2% respectively. Futures shot up quickly on the news. Here, the S&P 500. Yeah, so boom, there's a nice little green candle for you. Fed making progress, though, more slowly than they would like. The market could be weighing an important question now. Will we even see another rate hike from the Fed? And I do think people are asking that. Let's just go lightning round real quick. What do you think? I'm going to say yes, we will see another rate hike. Drew?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
Decker?
Yes.
Ali?
425.
Yeah. BJ?
0.75 in December, Bob.
Oh, dang.
In
0.75. That's a big one. No, I think we'll see 0.25 again, maybe even twice, and then they hold.
They can't not. And Citadel talked about a 6% target at the beginning of this year, even though like mainstream media was still trying to hold on to that 5% target overall. We're already basically at a 5% target.
We're at 5 right now, right?
Yeah. And so to get to 6, that's 4 more 25 base point hikes, right?
Janet Yellen in chat says yes.
Yes.
Followed by
She could
that
is her.
Oh wow, the Janet Yellen in chat says yes. Damn.
Thank you for an interview.
Good to see you.
Yeah, so I think markets are asking that question right now. Will we even see another rate hike? I do think we see it. I think we see people freak out when it happens. You know, you got the Jamie Dimons of the world yelling at Congress. We can't let the Fed needs to stop raising rates. But they'll do it. It's all just, again, this is all a charade for us, for our entertainment. Which components of CPI contributed most to the numbers? The biggest increase year over year: transportation services up almost 14%, electricity up 10%. Yeah, we're going to need that. Food away from the home 8.8%. That's pretty interesting.
Janet
so that's
said
eating out.
Janet Yellen said 50 base points is what she's thinking.
Fitty bitties.
Fitty bitties.
Yeah, I think that's 0.25 twice. So I can see that 5.5. That seems like
do 100, Janny.
The biggest decreases were all in energy, gasoline, energy commodities, fuel oil, all down 14, 17% respectively. We won't go into those details. So are the rate hikes done? Maybe. The Fed is clearly heading in the right direction with inflation, but we got this far because of the aggressive rate hikes, and we still have a ways to go before hitting target inflation of 2%. But that isn't stopping some investors from being euphoric. Many are already talking about the possibility of rate cuts this year. Imagine the rally we'd see if that happens. Again, save it for an election year. Here's the meme that basically sums it all up. CPI came in lower than expected, so our magical internet coins pump. But because that means there are higher likelihood that the Fed will ease monetary conditions sooner, which debases the currency and causes the inflation out of the short term and doesn't matter.
Woo!
Hope you guys got all that. There you go.
That's fun. I think the funnest thing to think about is like how long can they possibly hold the rates high? And high is a relative term. We're thinking about a 6% Fed funding rate when they had to go to 16, 18% in the 80s to fix the 70s inflation. So like right now we're like sitting here toiling over like a 5 or 6% cost of funding, and how long can they possibly hold on to that Fed funding rate? Because the history of the graph, it went down and very low, and now we're right here. We have like a little moment where we're at 5 or 6%, and I think it's going to be, in my opinion, hilarious when they have to go back down to 0 within 2 years because they're addicted to quantitative easing. So that's punchline.
Chemistry Bro said he thinks on the next meeting they'll pause with a clear statement of a pause, not a pivot. Then let more data come in and kind of assess down the road, but make it very clear that we're not pivoting here. We're just going to hold, which I can see. Hold these rates, hold at 5, hold it even, again, what's 5.25 or 5? I think 5.5, you got to get there if you want to see the difference. 5 or 5.25 kind of immaterial, in my opinion, on how long you hold there. I can see that. That's not a bad scenario either, but I just think they're going to do. I think if they know what's good for them, they need to get it to 5.5. If I was Jerome Powell, I'd raise it 2 more times at least, and then just say, screw you guys.
Do you guys remember that figure? I remember the story. I think it was a while ago, but every 50-point basis hike, English checker, at the U.S. federal level effectively decreases the GDP of third world countries by 2%.
Yeah, because they're servicing
per
debt.
country.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like literally overnight, like these 2 hikes. You're watching countries like Sri Lanka. I'm not sure. I'm just throwing things out. They
go under basically.
Like, holy cow!
Yeah, like, these are people that are barely holding on to service the debt that they have. That when those numbers go up, it becomes unserviceable. That's the trap. It's
an interesting kind of other dynamic on the international level. Well, it's like, hey, we're doing this to fix the USA, which is great, but we're also kind of screwing over a lot of countries. I mean, we have to do it because.
Do we really though?
Well, but. That gets into
we could lessen our consumption expectations and step back a little bit and bring back monetary transparency. It'd be very ugly and painful, but we can do it. You just have to be strong enough to make it through.
Well, and that's what they're afraid of, is the ugly and the painful. That's what they don't want. They want to continually, even though it's become mathematically obvious that this is an illusion that we're living in and there's no way that this is going to play out in anything that makes logical sense. Like pain is the only logical solution at this point, is having a painful and hard reset and then going from there. They don't want to do that. They'd rather kick the can down the road, reschedule. I was just about to say, when you're talking about these other countries and their GDPs getting crushed by Fed rate hikes because they can't service the debt, what do they want to do? They want to rebundle the debt. They want to reschedule it. Oh, you know what? You owed us this much at this rate at this time. You know what? We're just going to stretch that out. We're going to reschedule it. We're going to take your 20-year to a 30-year to a 40-year to a 50-year. I mean, we covered earlier, which plays out on a macro scale with nations and countries, but also plays out all the way down to the citizen level here in the United States. We literally covered earlier this week, the government approved 40-year mortgages, FHA 40-year mortgages, and banks are all over that. Like, heck yeah, 40-year mortgages. We're gonna, you're gonna be, and guess what comes after? They've already been floating the ideas of 50-year mortgages. So you're talking about buy a house and be shackled for the rest 50 years. That's basically your entire working life.
That's your kids too that are gonna not be able to afford your homestead when you pass away.
Right, you buy a house at 45 years old with a 50-year mortgage.
Yeah,
it reminds me of China, how they do, because like the government owns all the properties and they just do 99-year leases.
Yep,
they're gonna get crushed.
Okay, well at that point it's basically a 50-year. I mean, I know you're owning the property and you could take money against it.
No,
but
you're
you
right.
Get my point.
That's how you get to the world where you own nothing and you're happy. They start like, hey, you could have done this 40, 50-year mortgage. You know what? Now what? We're not going to give you a 50-year mortgage. We're just going to do this lease for you. And, you rent it when you can leave, you can come, you can go, you can move. There's no headache. And it's just this monthly thing. And you're just running on the wheel. And then, hey, all of a sudden you look around like, I have no assets. I have nothing that I own of my own. Yeah.
That's what I was telling my aunt. She's been saving for a house for like probably 15 years and hasn't gotten into the market the whole time, has stayed renting. And literally every month, those multiple thousands of dollars have disappeared and they will never come back. And it's just the renter circle, I feel like, that has been created where people are afraid to pull the trigger and they feel the ease of not having to replace the water heater or do things to the house when things go wrong, but taking ownership of that and, just having a mortgage, it's done amazing things for me. So I would recommend it. Anyone else out there that's not in the position to do anything you can to get in that position before it's too late. So.
And this is a good reminder from Caleb Franzen. Remember, he says inflation has peaked. Oh, but prices haven't.
Fat fingered. Okay,
yeah, that's all right. You can have fat fingers, BJ. I don't mind you.
I know.
Remember, inflation has peaked, but prices haven't. So even if this trend does start to come down, we start to see the real-time inflation numbers start coming down, we'll see price spikes on all sorts of different goods and services. So these guys gave you some good advice. Be prepared. The pain is not done. We're the ones that feel it. Unfortunately, all this monetary manipulation that's going on.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're insulated a lot being in the United States. We're not in Sri Lanka. We're not in Lebanon. We're not in some of these, Greece, all these places that have seen real massive hyperinflation. How terrifying that must be to see everything you've worked for and built for and saved for your entire life just evaporate like that. When you're talking your families, your grandparents, your cousins, I can't imagine what that would be like to go through here. So, and
they just bear it.
It is here to a degree,
it's here,
though.
it is.
If you because my parents will save like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that was a lot of money in the 90s, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars today. That really, what, a couple vehicles,
right? Yeah, exactly. 200 grand, you can buy, 2 nice cars.
Yeah. I will say though, to Sri Lanka and Lebanese defense, they see they're literally like, all right, I make $20 today. The value of my salary and wage tomorrow because of inflation is now $17. And the next day it's 13. And the next day it's 12. And then all of a sudden the rights I'm buying is not 50 cents a kilo, it's $1.52. And then all of a sudden you're like, and so I've been watching a lot of these documentaries. I will say we are pretty grateful to be in America in some of the case. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people that are struggling in America too. I'm not going to discount that.
No, we are. But like you were saying, we're more insulated because we're the reserve currency. Like we feel it, directly, hey, if we go up 7, 8, 9%, that we feel that. But when 8% here is 60% there, and it's just like you said, overnight, you just lose everything you ever had, which is pretty wild. So that's about all we have time for today. We do have about 500 people in here, 186 likes. So if everybody stop what you're doing real quick, smash that like button. We can get to that 420 like goal. I think not this Thursday, a couple Thursdays from now, we'll have a special episode planned for you guys. So
was that the pizza episode?
You say a pizza episode?
or the ice cream one?
Actually, we are gonna. I think I am gonna finally give everybody the ice cream party on that day. Yeah, ice cream
It's like
party
4th grade again.
for hitting those 420 like goals. Shout out to all of you guys in the chat. We would not be able to do the show without you. We absolutely love you guys. Janet Yellen, Jeffster, Fluffy the Sheep, Crypto Naughty, Jonathan Alfred, Crypto O, Janet Yellen, Ashley Haslden, Crypto O. We got Crimson Caravan Company, Miami Alpha, Manowa, Casino Doggy. This is the Bitcoin Way, Manly Crypto, Chemistry Bro, Big Hands Dan, Bert Shaumus, White Rabbit, Pooin78 Div. I already said Crimson Caravan Company. We love all of you guys. We will see you tomorrow. Buy Bitcoin. Shanghai
Rating
upgrade.
Ray.
We're out of here.
Have fun with Joel.
Bye bye.
Play some games. Peace.
Joel, do
We'll
good.
see you next week.